Alright, happy April, happy spring. Huge movie fanatic Nate coming at you on a relatively fantastically warm spring, April spring day. I think it got up to the mid or high 70s today. Absolutely fantastic. You might be able to see that I've been in the sun a little bit, maybe a little too much. But what the hell, I only get to be in it for like half the year, if that. So I'm coming at you today for a review for a rather obscure, nondescript, probably no one ever heard of, or at least not that many people has ever heard of, movie by the name of Abominable. It's one of many like sci-fi channel-esque, budget kind of Sasquatch, Bigfoot slash, Yeti slash whatever the hell, big hairy beast in the woods kind of horror movie thing. And back when I worked at I can't remember. Can't remember if this came out when I was working at the video store, movie gallery, or not. But at any rate, for some reason, I ended up buying this previously viewed for probably a lot more than I should have, and a lot more than I'd pay for it now. But I actually thought of this just a while back, and I'm like tried to dig it out, and I did successfully dig it out in the DVD and found it and rewatched it and just thought it'd be like a cool review and see how few, I'm going for, as you can tell in most of the videos I do, or we do, we kind of like to strive for the lowest view counts possible. So I thought I'd continue that goal and do a review for a movie that no one's really, very few people have ever heard of, and see how few view counts I can get for this video. I'd probably be very small, so that'd be good. So on to the review of Abominable. Now this movie came out I think late to I think it was like more like maybe 05, 06, 07-ish. Now this movie, it should be noted, was directed by the son, as far as I know, of this kind of relatively famous composer who he's like foreign and I can't pronounce his name or last name or something, so I'll just put his name in red letters on the screen. As far as I know, because back in the day when I first saw it, I think I watched the making of it. It is the son, as far as I know, of this famous composer who did scores for movies like Bullet and Amityville Horror and whatever else. So as a result, because it was I think written and directed by the son of this composer, he got Dad to do the score for this movie, which is probably better than most movies, a better score than most movies of this budget. This movie features back before House of the Devil, and it seems like she did some other bit parts in movies as well, but this movie features a relatively short kind of cameo or appearance by what the hell's her name now? It skips my mind right now. It's skipping my mind. Dee Wallace Stone, who I think at one point was going by Dee Wallace, and I think she's went by Dee Wallace Stone for this movie. So I don't know if she's getting married and then divorced and then remarried to this guy or whatever, but maybe she just felt like that was name is more recognizable for her, the three-part Dee Wallace Stone versus just Dee Wallace. But at any rate, at the very beginning of this movie, it features Dee Wallace Stone and this guy from you'll recognize from Cliffhanger, and I think he was in Iron Will? Is that the name of that one? That winter movie? So anyway, excuse me, long story short, this is a review for Abominable. So Abominable is basically just your, pardon me, basically you're just, like I say, it's kind of got the, not that I really watch Sci-Fi Channel, but based on, I've probably seen some things that were, I have an idea of what, the kind of budget, Sci-Fi Channel-esque stuff is, and this is definitely fits right up there for Sci-Fi Channel-esque budget. So this is just one of the many, gazillions Sasquatch movies to come out. Now, interestingly, I grew up with Deep Star 6. Interestingly enough, this movie basically the first billing, or the main guy and the main performer in this, the main star of this movie, is actually one of these kind of the goofy guy from Deep Star 6 back in 1988, and that's like the only movie that I've ever seen this guy who's like the star of this movie in. He was the guy who basically ended up getting to take a shower with Nina Peoples, or whatever the hell her name was slash is. So he was played the kind of goofy guy, you know, just the comic relief or whatever, and the guy who ended up getting bitten in half by the sea monster in the little deep sea diving suit in Deep Star 6. He's featured in this movie. What is it? 9, 10, is it 20? Yeah, it's like almost 20, nearly 20 years later, looking, you know, old, nearly 20 years older. And he's, I don't know, it's funny seeing this guy. It seemed like, you know, in Deep Star 6, it seemed like he was perfectly cast as a goofy guy, because maybe that's how he is in real life, I don't know. But it just seems, you know, that's all, Deep Star 6 is all I've seen him from, so it seems like, you know, so I kind of have an idea this guy's goofy, and to have him be in a relatively serious role is kind of weird to me. But anyway, that's just because that's the only movie I've seen him in. So this guy plays this guy who had been a mountain climber, would mountain climb. This is just some backstory we end up seeing or hearing via whatever. This guy ended up, you know, before the movie started, he was a victim on a mountain climbing accident where him and his wife fell and his wife died, and he's in a wheelchair now, and he goes up to the mountains with this asshole, like, apparently it's this guy's first movie, this John Malkovich look-alike guy, and he's pretty good for being a first movie. I mean, you really hate this guy, this basically being driven up to his cabin by, I mean, to, you know, the guy in the wheelchair's cabin by this asshole asshole like orderly guy or whatever, and who's like John, this is his first movie and maybe last, I don't know, John Malkovich look-alike wannabe guy. And this guy's just an asshole. Brings him up to this guy, you know, guy's cabin. I think it's the first time he'd been there since the accident, which I can't remember how many years ago it is. Long story short, this is kind of just your typical run-of-the-mill Sci-Fi Channel-esque horror movie. It's got, like I say, it features small, you know, appearances by, say Linda Day George, Dee Wallace Stone and the guy from Cliffhanger at the beginning, and it also features, you know, probably, well, I'd say longer, like 2 appearances and 1 relatively long appearance of, you know, an aging Jeffrey Combs, as well as Lance Henriksen, and also that guy from Cliffhanger makes a second appearance in a campfire scene with those 2 guys. So this is kind of just like, you know, whatever's kind of movie, and it also features, which is probably why I bought it, like a Jeep Wrangler full of relatively attractive young women, which live across, basically just right next door to this guy's cabin or whatever. So the movie's basically kind of this Rear Window-esque, you know, Rear Window meets whatever Sasquatch movie, where this asshole orderly ends up leaving this guy in the wheelchair alone, basically, you know, to go get the right kind of food for him or whatever, and the guy in the wheelchair ends up seeing some bimbo bitch, you know, that's staying in the building right next door, end up, you know, seeing her getting eaten or something like that by this huge Sasquatch, the apparition monster thing, and that's pretty harrowing and scary and creepy and stuff like that. Luckily, you know, for you heterosexual males and you gay females, you know, lesbian women and whatever, there is a naked, like, pretty relatively kind of, you know, attractive naked girl scene in this movie. I want to say it's the same girl who also appeared in this relatively horrible movie called Delta Die earlier, I want to say, but she's the one who's like naked in the shower. What's so dumb about this movie is the way they have the next door building made. Is it's kind of like there's this big huge window, I mean like overly huge window in the bathroom, so you can conveniently just see like everything happening in the bathroom and this woman taking a shower and all this and that, and it's just kind of nonsense. Long story short, it's this Rear Window-esque, you know, Rear Window meets whatever, I've already said that, kind of just whatever movie. So I'll just say, before I do stars, I'll just say the strengths. The strengths are, you know, the atmosphere, the mountain, you know, the California, I'm presuming California mountain woods, you know, cabin atmosphere is pulled off, and, you know, relatively well, and it's really kind of creepy as, you know, dusk and night approaches, when I think the guy in the wheelchair's name is Preston in the movie. When dusk and night approaches and the orderly guy, John Malkovich wannabe guy, is still not back, and he's, you know, this guy in the wheelchair who really can't do anything or escape or run away, you know, witnesses this horrific event of, you know, this girl disappearing or being killed or whatever, and the lines are down because it's windy or something like that, and he can't call the police and all this and that. So anyway, it's a relatively kind of cool Rear Window-esque ripoff. It's got some kind of cool atmosphere and mountain woodsness, and obviously the bimbo young women and the naked one in the shower, and there's this the kind of the blonde the kind of the blonde girl that I think the only one that survives is pretty cute. I'm surprised I hadn't seen her in anything else. Of course, I don't see a lot of these no budget or Sci-Fi Channel budgeted kind of movies, but whatever. So I think at the end of the day, I was sorry, I'm scatterbrained. I was naming off the strengths. Another strength, before I get to the stars, another strength I will name of this movie is the monster. It's relatively well done. I think better done than normally you'll get for a Bigfoot/Sasquatch movie. The way the lower jaw kind of goes like down 1.5 or 2 feet just to swallow heads and bite off faces and stuff is really kind of cool, and the design for the mountain monster Sasquatch thing is really is several notches up, in my opinion, from most of what you normally see in these kind of movies. I think it's really got this really kind of almost a really unsettling look to the face. Like the face is designed in a really unsettling way, and then the teeth just look like they could bite anything and off and whatever. And so those are the strengths. Weaknesses is just kind of like, I hate the opening credits. I mean, this is such a lame ass gripe. I shouldn't even, pardon me, mention it, but the opening credits and the way they're done in this like early 21st century, just kind of stupid way, I don't like. That's dumb. That's such a petty complaint. I won't even continue with that. But I'll go 2 stars. 2 stars out of 4 stars for, I was going to call it Sasquatch. What the hell is this called? Abominable. This movie's called Abominable. And ideally, I guess if you was going to do a movie called Abominable, which is kind of like a nod obviously to, I'm assuming, Abominable Snowman, you should kind of, in my opinion, if you're going to call it Abominable, it should be like in a more, winter-esque, maybe just snow-covered ground and, cold setting and stuff. But whatever, that's another just gripe because, I'm pretty much, when I hear Abominable, I think of Abominable Snowman. And they do kind of just throw, like it's done so many times in movies made in California, they throw patches of snow or whatever the hell, cotton on the ground and stuff to give it that colder mountain look, but it kind of doesn't really work for whatever. So if you want to see an aging Lance Henriksen and Jeffrey Combs and I can never remember, Dee Wallace Stone and guy from Cliffhanger in small, bit parts in a movie and see him get killed or whatever. I can't remember if Dee Wallace Stone gets killed. If you want to see them in a gaggle of 4 kind of relatively attractive, younger women, see one of them taking a shower, and see the guy from Deep Star 6 in a wheelchair playing James Stewart, I'd say check this movie out. I don't know, like I say, I bought it previously viewed back in the day. I don't know what the hell it costs now, but the price tag on the DVD kind of made me open my eyes and go, what? I mean, I don't even pay that kind of money for, so I'm surprised I paid that much for it at the time, but I guess I wasn't as cheap back then. So thank you very much for watching my review of Abominable. Its heart was in the right place, like I say, the kind of Rear Window meets whatever, Sasquatch. The heart's in the right place, but unfortunately, I don't know, the DVD's kind of cool. It's got like a making of, and it's got outtakes, bloopers, trailers, whatever. Oh, one thing that I do want to mention about my DVD, which I think was put up by Anchor Bay, is like, I tried watching it on the TV, like, the LED, 16 by 9 high definition TV, and it was just like that, whoever authored it or whoever actually made it up to be authored, like screwed up I don't know what, I had to put it in like a portable DVD player to watch because the picture was so crappy on the TV that it was, so anyway, I guess I can stop reviewing this now. Thank you very much for watching and joining me on this beautiful spring evening. Oh, I can't tell you how great, as always, I think I say this every spring, now being the 5th time, how grateful and glad I am that spring is finally here, and lucky us, and whoop-de-doo, and all that. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.